Okay. Hi. This is Nik and Adinah, and we have another video on the Nik and Adinah Ask the Question series, or Ask Nik and Adinah is what the series is called.
Either one.
So, so the question is, and I did not get permission to use this person's name, so I won't. Mm-hmm. And in the future, I'll ask if it's fine to use their name.
Okay.
But the question is, how do you handle it if your spouse is not spending enough quality time with you? And that's a good question, because I am really big on quality time, and you work a lot.
Yeah, and you married to a workaholic.
So, I guess we're going to share some of the things that we do when you're not spending quality time with me, or I feel like there's not enough quality time. And also at the end, we have a subscriber shout out. So I guess you guys are noticing too that we've gotten quite a few new subscribers. So special thank you to the day one subscribers, and special thank you to the new subscribers as well.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. So QT.
Yeah.
I'll share some of the things that I've done. I'm sure you have some thoughts of some things that maybe I still haven't done that you'd like me to do, and I'll be more than happy to do them.
No, I think you're really good with this, because you understand that my love language is quality time. So you really work hard at doing this. So
one of the things I do is that I will intentionally block off time for that. So it could be something as, at one point, I just sent out like a ton of like calendar invites to you. I don't know if you remember it. And I was just like, date night. And I put it on the calendar. And so I was like, okay, that served two purposes. The first purpose was that it kept me accountable for it. And I was like, okay, I've said that we're going to do this at this particular time. The second thing is that it gave you something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So even if I was like kind of heads down doing, work, at least you know, okay, like he knows I got him, 2 weeks from now, we got a date night. So here it goes. So
yeah.
I did that. So, cause I knew it was important for you, but also, I knew it was important for me to, continue to work and get some things done. So I wanted to be able to, have both of those things be achieved. So by doing that was just a really big thing. So that's one of the things that I do as far as like make sure I have that quality time, just making sure to do that.
Yeah, I think that helps you too, to kind of know that the time is scheduled and you're not going to ignore me, or that I already know. I think it's around communication though, because I already know that this time is going to be carved out for me and us to spend time together. So I don't have to say, when are we going to ever spend time together, or fuss about it, because it's on the calendar and I already know that.
Okay.
I think one thing you do too is if you're working, or and you're so much better at this than I am, because me, I'm just like, I'm doing what I'm doing, or but you're not quality time like I am. You're words of affirmation, so I make it a point to make sure I say nice things to you.
Yeah, you do. And I think one thing we have to, we can't make these assumptions that, okay, they're not spending enough quality time with me, so they should just know it. I shouldn't have to ask them for it. That's a problem. And what you'll find is that quality time to you may be completely different than quality time to somebody else. And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
We could be sitting up watching something on television. To your mate, this may be quality time. Yeah. To you, this could just be a waste of time.
Yeah.
We talk about, quality time not being proximity. So you don't have to, just because you're in the same place doesn't mean that's quality time.
All right.
So what you want to do is, if you haven't shared it, you want to just say, hey, I need to, first of all, if they're not around, say, hey, I need to be around you more.
Yeah.
Then if they're around you more, be like, hey, I like to do these types of things with you.
Yeah.
Don't assume they're just going to know what you're going to work. Now, granted, over time, as you get, more years into your relationship and time, they'll start to get stuff. But at the beginning of your relationship, you just can't assume that people are going to know just what you want.
Yeah, and I know, like in the beginning of our relationship, there were times where I just felt like I wanted to be close to you, but you had things to do, like yard work or whatever. So I literally one time went out to the car and fell asleep while you were doing yard work, and you were like, why didn't you just go inside?
Hey, lady, why are you sleeping in the front yard?
Yeah. So, and then I guess after you made that comment, I thought it was important to say, yeah, I wanted to be close to you. I wanted to spend. So then you felt like a heel.
I did.
But it's like, I think the communication is so important with all of these things. And this is all what it's all about. It's about communicating, hey, we will have a date night, or hey, we will have this time together. And you do work a lot. So I understand oftentimes if I have something on the schedule that, yeah, I know you're working hard. I know you're grinding. I know you're doing what you have to do for this family. I think one of the things that help too, though, is the fact that you work from home. So you're here and I see, okay, you disappear for the full 8 hours because you're working. You may you get a chance to come down and use the bathroom or come down and take a snack. But for the most part, you are working, and I understand that. You have meetings a lot of times, even though I'm not involved with your schedule. I think, I do understand that you're working, and the kids understand that you're working, and your job is, very demanding. So we don't fret and fuss over you're working. That's what you have to do, and sometimes you do pull long hours. So, and that's understandable, so long as we just know, like, when you're taking a break or you're taking some time off, or I'll say, babe, can you just get off at 3:00 on a Friday? You worked 10-12 hours all a day all week. Then a lot of times you accommodate.
Yeah. And but let's the desire is that, okay, you're not spending enough quality time with me, right? So one thing that you don't want to do is create a situation where, say, this wasn't a thing when, like, we first got married. This is a big thing now, it's gaming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are gamers. So say, for instance, you might have a husband or a wife who's a gamer. And you might sit there and say how stupid it is to be a gamer. You can't believe this, you can't believe that.
Are you trying to get me back because of the whole wrestling thing?
No, ma'am, I'm not trying to do anything at all. And if that was the case, I would have said, hey, when we first got married, my wife used to say that wrestling was stupid and fake, and she can't believe I was sitting up there watching it. But I didn't say that. So, say, for instance,
But you have now. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Nah, I think you mentioned that. When they go low, we go high. I wasn't going to say anything. So what happened is you don't want to sit there and cause them, like, you don't want to belittle whatever that activity is.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't want to, sit there or make it just horrible for them.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So because all that's going to lead to something else that you don't want. Ultimately, what you're trying to do, you're trying to get, your need for quality time met.
Right.
And you don't want to do that. So you don't want to do that. Now, granted, it kind of gets to a different situation if it becomes like a repetitive thing, and you've kind of shared your desires, and this particular individual keeps putting that thing ahead of you. Well, that's a completely different situation, and that's a whole nother video. But we're just starting off just saying, hey, you know what? You've articulated your desire to have, quality time. You need to be able to express it as far as the activities that you would like to have.
Yeah.
And then, put it in that person's kind of, put it in their, I want to say ball court. I don't know why that works. Put it in their court.
Give them the onus on it.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, too, if they're a gamer or they do something, play golf or whatever the case may be, and you feel like that's taking away too much time from your quality time, then get them to put it on a schedule. Okay, so for 1 hour, I will watch Family Feud or play a game or do whatever, and then we'll spend time together. But give them an opportunity to do what makes them happy and what they enjoy, but also get that quality time together. Yeah. And make it a priority. I think that's so important that you make that quality time a priority. Yeah,
that's a good point, honey, because in some capacity, that is meeting some need that they have. So once their needs are met, they'll have more to give to you. So you don't want to do that. But also, one other thing I remember you had done when we first got married was around football. You knew I enjoyed football, but you didn't quite get it. Yeah. So you were trying to do little things to, like, kind of figure it out. And this is what I'll say to you, gentlemen.
And not make it miserable for you.
Yeah, gentlemen, and I'll say gentlemen, but also to the ladies as well. If your spouse identifies, we'll go back to the gaming example. If your spouse says, you know what, this person really enjoys gaming, I'm going to try to learn about it. So if they get with you and they start asking you questions, don't get irritated about it. No, what is this? What is that? Why do you do this? Why do you have to do that with your right thumb? Whatever it is, be understanding that this person cares enough about you to try to gain interest in something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And who could probably be more than happy to not know anything about it. But like, hey, I want to be with this person, so I'm trying to learn it. So don't get irritated, don't get frustrated, don't get annoyed. Just make sure that, this person is trying to come into your world, and be grateful for that and try to guide them along the way.
Well, but I would say, too, not to just ask that person, because when I started watching football with you, or when I attempted to watch football,
what had happened was,
right, I made it a point to find something that interests me about the game. Or Google it. Google what all these things is. Don't stop a person to say, "Hey, what is that? What is a Hail Mary? What is a touchdown? Why are they dancing like this?"
You say, "What in the hell, Mary?" I was like, "Man, was you cussing?"
Yes. Okay. Or, and the thing we did too around football, we would watch 30 for 30. And not to give them a shout out, but that was fun too, because I got a chance to look at the history and the backstory to some of the things that were happening. So it's so important to find something in that activity that you can enjoy with your spouse.
All right, that's great. So I know we got a subscriber shout out. We're gonna do it in just a minute, but just remember, if it's a call to action or takeaways, if you feel like you're not getting enough quality time, first of all, you have to articulate it in a loving way. You need to be able to share what your definition of quality time is, and then allow that person the opportunity to be able to do that. And also, if there are particular activities that person is doing, be understanding there as well. Allow them the time to do that, but also the other thing is that you don't want to make it miserable for them as well. So just really try to work those things out, and then give it some time. And if it doesn't work out, then you need to revisit it and say, hey, you know what? We talked about this, a month ago. This is kind of where I still am. And then person be like, oh man, I can't believe it. But guess what? You got to work it out.
Yeah, you got to work it out, and try not to do it with an attitude. Say, we talked about this, and we're going to talk about conflict resolution in another video, but it's so important that you try to work it out and not necessarily be negative about it.
Yeah, you don't want to be negative about it, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is find yourself in a knockdown, drag out over gaming or something that's really minuscule. You don't really anything, but you don't want to do that. So
no fights over football.
No fights over football.
All right, so the shout out that I have is Danielle Washington, and her company is Embodied Hair Honey, and I saw some really good videos and pictures of some of the stuff that she does, so check her out. We'll put her information in the subscription box, and not the subscription box, in the description.
Yeah, the subscription box.
Description box.
Yeah.
So check her out. And anything else?
We just want to thank her for the love. We would ask that you all would show her some love as well in her business. And if you have not, we ask that you would subscribe and like this video. Put any comments down below as far as what quality times you do with your spouses. We look for those. As always, we're here to be a resource for you all. So if you do have any additional questions that you have for the Ask Nik and Adinah series, please feel free to either email us, go to our Facebook page, any of our socials, put them out there. We welcome
Maybe not Instagram. I'm not so great on Instagram.
We're still struggling on Instagram. We're trying on it. We getting there. So the people who follow us, don't go away. We try to we do better. We promise we'll do better when we come to that. Where do we put the words? Yeah. So we're trying to do better. But like I said, I got 2 computer degrees, and I'm still like Instagram. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. So I might have to get somebody to give us a block answer. If we got any subscribers out there who want to give us a one-on-one, feel free to put down in the comments. Right. But as always, this is my wife, Adinah. I'm Nik Johnson. Thank you all so much for watching our video. Take care of yourself and keep loving one another.